club champions. Academics' 3-1 win in the Upton Trophy marked the end of the club's best ever season. North were favourites to win this match. It was their 27th Upton. It was Sporting Academics first. But Accies have several players with plenty of experience of these matches, and they had the best chances early on. The team are affiliated to Sporting Lisbon in Portugal, although they now only have one Portuguese player, Julio Mones. Academics took the lead midway through the first half when they were awarded a penalty. Paul Carberry had a profound influence on this final, and he made his first significant contribution by calmly converting the penalty. North came back well, with Grant Chalmers also playing a vital role in midfield. His incisive passing gave their attacks a cutting edge. He started this move, which ended in North being awarded a penalty when Sid Leprevo was chopped down by Paul Hartsoe. As Leprevo staggered to his feet, Chalmers prepared himself. But his weak shot was well saved by Paul McDermott. North continued to play good football and were rewarded just before half-time when they scored an excellent goal. A well-flighted free kick by Rodney Elmy was flicked on into the box. Leprevo combined with Chris Letitia in a neat 1-2, and Leprevo scored. It was simple, skillful football at its very best. In the second half, Sporting Academics took over. In the run into the league title, they specialised in late comebacks. But in this match, they were always in control, playing superb attacking football. It was only a question of time before they scored. Paul Carberry was inspirational. He's won every honour in local football and fittingly played as a professional in Portugal. He was at the hub of Academics' buzzing midfield. This Gaza-style pass put Livesey clean through. And he did well to beat Steve Ingruel. Once they were ahead 2-1, Academics never looked like losing. Attacks by North were rare, but bristling with quality when they broke out of defence. North are a skillful side who play the ball to feet. Colin Ozan set up this move, and Mark Bissell, Leprevo and Chalmers linked in the box to set up the chance. Chalmers' powerful drive struck Eric Brown in the groin. The brave defender managed to clear the ball before collapsing in agony. North never gave up, but Academics' defence grew in stature as the game went on. Carberry again put Livesey through. But the striker held on too long, and his angled shot was saved. Academics looked like scoring with every attack and could have scored 6 or 7. Even when there was no apparent danger, North managed to contrive some. This backheader by Lang nearly let Livesey in again. Paul Hartsoe also had an excellent game. He took a leaf out of Carberry's playing manual when he pumped an inch-perfect long ball through to Livesey. The striker missed several good chances, but he lobbed the ball in this time to make the score 3-1. North never gave up. They kept attacking, but it just wasn't enough. Kevin Letitia was put clear just before the end, but his shot was beaten away by McDermott. It was North's last chance. Sporting Academics were worthy winners. The Upton Trophy was presented to skipper Paul Hartsoe. It was the perfect way for manager Peter Vincenti to retire, and a remarkable achievement for the club.
Really pleased for the lads and the committing that from the club. It's big for them, and really pleased to have done it for them. Hard running, but at the end of the day, we proved the best team over the season.
You had lots of chances out there. That last one must have been very sweet.
I was glad to see the last one go in. I thought I was never going to score the second one today, but I just saw it go in the far corner. I was just glad to see it, and the relief on the team's faces as I turned around was great to see it.
Because you had quite a few chances as a side and as an individual.
Yeah, it was one of those games where it's either going or you're going to keep missing. But this time, on the last one there, I just saw the keeper go down and I knocked it to the far post and it's floated into the far corner.
What's the future for Sporting Academics?
Well, retain everything we've won this year and hopefully win a couple of other cups.
We've still got the Marathi to look forward to. That's the sports news.
Prio League champions North were at home to Weymouth on Saturday in the second round of the Dorset Senior Cup. A win was a lot to ask of the Chocolate and Blues. Weymouth are a part-time professional team. They're also the reigning Dorset Senior Cup holders and have won the trophy 22 times. Nevertheless, North are a good cup side, and in front of their loyal fans at Northfield, anything is possible. It was a late kick-off at Northfield on Saturday. The match had been put back because the game clashed with the televising of the Rugby World Cup final. North had a big mountain to climb. Weymouth are one of Dorset's best sides and have only lost 2 matches this season, one of them in the FA Cup. Both teams started tentatively on the greasy pitch, and the first real incident came 7 minutes into the game. North's Grant Chalmers broke through the centre and crossed to an open Kevin Letitia, but ex-Leicester City player Willie Gibson deliberately handled the ball. A sending-off offence, but amazingly Gibson only received a brief telling off by referee Trevor Savadon. A pattern quickly emerged. North relied on the quick break through the centre, while Weymouth settled easily into their accurate passing game. It paid off for the visitors in the 17th minute. Weymouth's Tony Cook, who joined the club from league side Bristol City, crossed from the right, and striker Will Flint doesn't miss from that range. North looked tentative and out of sorts, a reflection perhaps of their indifferent form this season. In the 32nd minute, Paul Jordan was booked for something he said after defender Martin Govan was injured in a touchline tackle. 2 minutes from half-time, Weymouth were on target again, but this time Steve Clifford's goal was ruled offside. In the second half, the rain fell, but it didn't seem to bother Weymouth. They dominated the game, stretching the North defence and forcing some desperate saving tackles. Weymouth's second goal came after more goal-line excitement. First, Colin Ozan cleared off the line. Then Rod Elmy. But it was 3 times lucky for Weymouth, and Will Flint's second goal creeps over, despite a despairing attempt by goalkeeper Gary Govan. 20 minutes into the second half, Weymouth had another goal disallowed for offside. And then in the last quarter of the match, North finally took the game to Weymouth. North substitute Dane Leprevo ran around the visitors' defence, and Kevin Letitia was there to pull one back. But it was too little, too late. Weymouth held on to their 1-goal lead, a repeat of the scoreline when the two teams met in this competition 3 years ago.
Yeah, I was a bit disappointed. We had the opportunities to do better. We defended well, defended in numbers, but they're a good side. They deserve it. All the best to them in the next round.
But North never seemed to get into the cup tie fever much, did they?
No, 1 or 2 of the lads are saying that in the dressing room now. They feel that we didn't get to grips with the game during the week early enough and talk about it. I felt that the atmosphere on the day wasn't all it could have been.
They hustled us, but I thought that we shouldn't have to worry about the other side. Our own game wasn't together. We should have put away 3 or 4 more chances and been out of sight before they got the last goal. I mean, it should have been, by that time, we should have been sort of 5 up. But I wasn't disappointed with them because we came last year and only beat them 2-1. They chased hard, they worked very hard, they closed you down, and they're a workman-like side. But I thought that, in all over the game, we were obviously superior in lots of departments, and we never made it count. And that's what we shouldn't do. I mean, a lot of these blokes have been with a lot of league clubs. They know what the game's all about, and they didn't produce it on the day. But it's as simple as that. Mine, we had a bad crossing. I'm not making excuses, but we had a bad crossing across. We got here late last night, which didn't help. We couldn't prepare as I really wanted to for the game. I let them lay on this morning instead of doing a bit of training. So I suppose all in all, I can't complain.
With the Dorset Senior Cup no longer of any concern to the Northerners, it'll be back to the domestic scene on Wednesday night. North's opponents will be Rovers, and they'll be expecting to gain maximum points and improve on their middle-of-the-table position in the Prio League. Jersey Hockey Club to 5 points at the top. Playing at Northfield, Rangers had to play the last 20 minutes with only 10 men after Nick Graham was sent off for 2 bookable offences. And a great Jeremy Cup victory for struggling Prio League team Sylvans against St Peter, who, as you've just seen, are currently lying second in Jersey's top division. With just 5 minutes to go before extra time, former St Martin's coach and Ireland player Kevin Legale headed past St Peter keeper Martin LeBlanc to notch a 1-0 win. And now to the rugby.
It's 2-1 at Northfield in the most important league game of the season so far. It puts North 3 points ahead at the top of the Prio. Rangers are now in second place with a game in hand. If both teams win their remaining matches, there will have to be a playoff for the championship for the 2nd year running.
This was a game North had to win and Rangers couldn't afford to lose. If the Northerners lost, they would be 3 points adrift and the Red and Blacks would have a game in hand. With only half a dozen matches left in the season, North's chances of catching Rangers would be slim to say the least. A crowd of 300 watched Rangers start keenly, creating a number of early chances. A North attack beats goalkeeper Prio. The ball eventually comes to Grant Chalmers, who wants too much time, and the Rangers' defence managed to clear. It was North who opened the scoring. Kevin Le Tissier, who was playing with a hamstring injury, floated a perfectly weighted pass across the penalty area. Rangers keeper Peter Prio came for it, but Sid Le Prévost was first to the ball. Rangers continued to press. In the 23rd minute, Graham Raby almost embarrassed North keeper Gary Gauvin, but in the end he recovered well. Soon it was end-to-end action. This Rod Elmy free kick was headed down by Mark Bisson, which forced an improvised clearance from the Rangers' defence. Another chance for North from the corner, but once again it's Prio to Rangers' rescue. Halfway through the second half and North get a penalty. Kevin Le Tissier was brought down by unlucky Rangers defender Dave Cochrane. Le Tissier took the penalty, but the referee had words with Prio, who is booked for time wasting. A second chance for Le Tissier, who makes no mistake, and North were 2 up. Rangers kept up the pressure despite the 2-goal deficit, and more than once had the North defence in a right pickle. Early in the second half, a North's duo of Kevin Le Tissier and Danny Le Prévost terrorised the Rangers' defence, forcing save after save from Prio. Rangers certainly lived dangerously, saved by the woodwork on more than one occasion. North got the ball and the goalkeeper in the net in the 60th minute, but the referee had already blown for a foul. North were looking like winners all the way. Martin Gauvin sets up Grant Chalmers, whose rasping shot is just tipped over by Prio. Then it was Rangers' turn. Gauvin just keeping out this Craig Allen shot. Rangers deserved a goal. A long clearance from Prio is headed on by Raby, who gets the ball back from Craig Allen. Raby's cross should have been cleared by the North back line, but Carl Le Tissier connects with a low shot past the keeper. North held on despite frantic late pressure from the Red and Blacks. This Le Tissier free kick went begging as North defended bravely to deny them the equaliser. Final score, 2-1 to North, who are now well and truly in the title hunt.
If we'd have lost tonight, we'd have had to rely on somebody else. But as it was, before tonight we could do something about it, and we still can. Now the pressure is on them as much as us.
You fancy your chances now to run in and retain the title?
We would hope so. I think on our nights or on our day, whichever way you call it, we could beat anybody. But there again, you've got to do it on the day. It's a long time between now and the end of the season. There's a lot of football to be played. And they have got to carry on winning as well.
We're very disappointed. I mean, we would have probably been less disappointed if we'd played really badly and lost. But we feel we played well enough to win. We just couldn't, buy a goal.
You've made the running all the way through the season. North have now caught you. Do you get that horrible feeling you might be pipped at the post?
I don't think that worries us. I mean, I was here last year when we were struggling to get off bottom place all season and just squeaked, ahead of the Rovers at the end of the season, and to be sort of challenging at the top and thinking that we should win the Prio now, the way we played this season, we're not too bothered. We're the underdogs, and we still think we can win the Prio.
Both teams will now be going all out to win their remaining games. and force a playoff for the championship.
It's good to see the team so well supported there. Those fans must be enthusiastic to turn out on such a cold night. That's it from the studio for now. Our next bulletin is after news at 10. Updates on Oracle page 201. Join us again tomorrow.
Sylvans 7-1. They unseated reigning champions North, who beat Rangers 2-1 during the week. At present, only goal average separates the sides in the best finish for years. Vale Rec lost any realistic chance of catching Rangers and North when they went down 2-1 to Bells on Saturday afternoon. North were in fine form too. They earned a semi-final tie against Jersey Wanderers in the Wee Cup by thrashing Roselle Rovers 10 goals to 1. Danny Leprevo and Sid Leprevo both scored hat-tricks. Portuguese are back on top of Jersey European Division 2. 53rd minute goal. Wanderers will play Scottish in the final. Scottish have lost the final for the last 2 years. Last night they clinched the title with a 3-1 victory over lowly Sylvans.
A nervous night for North. They should have wrapped up the championship against Vale Rec last week, but ended up losing 3-2. Up against them in their last match of the season, second to bottom Sylvans, an underrated side and easily capable of causing an upset. That upset was on the cards by the 7th minute. Sylvans striker Richard Gallion ran round the North defenders and fired a superb angled shot past North goalkeeper Steve Ingewell to silence the home supporters. But North have been the most consistent side in the Prio this season, and 13 minutes later they levelled the score. A curling Rod Elmy free kick drew Sylvans keeper Paul de Gare. North skipper Mark Bisson did the rest. In the second half, North settled and showed why they've been Guernsey's best side for the last 3 seasons. Man of the match Mark Bisson got his second goal, another header, this time from a corner. 10 minutes from time and North put the match beyond doubt. Sid Leprevo tapped in a Martin Gauvin free kick and North had won their 3rd successive Prio championship.
Mighty, mighty Northerners! The mighty, mighty Northerners! Let's have a big cheer out of it! Prio champions!
Yeah, I think whoever gets the most points at the end of the season deserves to win the championship. If Rangers had got more than us, they would have deserved it. But at the end of the day, we got more, so I think we're worthy champions.
Some sympathy for Rangers, so they did make all the running at the start of the season.
Yeah, they've had a great season and they've pushed us all the way, and it's been a fabulous climax. And you know, we should have won it last week, but never mind. We've had a good night, and we'll have a good evening tonight.
What about the Upton? Any preference? Jersey Scottish or St Peter?
We've played St Peter already this season and beaten them. I haven't really seen Scottish play. I think they're a good team, but oh yeah, we'll fancy our chances.
Last night's win was a very special moment for Phil Corbett, who retires as North's coach after the Upton match next month. A successor has already been appointed.
We made an appointment with him, with Colin Ozan, that we're very pleased with, and yeah, I'm sure Colin will just carry it on from where we've taken the club so far.
What about local football for you? Is this the end?
I don't know. I'm staying in the north. You know, there's a few jobs that need doing, and I'm sure they'll find something for me somewhere in the club. But no, I'll be around moaning and groaning a little bit for a while longer yet.
Well, I hear you're going to be here in an advisory capacity. What does that mean?
I just tell Ozzy how to moan at the players, basically.
North's left back Colin Ozan will become another of the league's player coaches and takes over a team who look well capable of continuing their winning championship run for another year at least.
Guernsey's 2 international squash stars, Lisa Opie and Martine Lemoignon, beating Jersey champion Brian Sloot Park Trophy at the track on Saturday. The league champions of both islands were very evenly matched. The action-packed game finished in a 1-1 draw, and there'll now be a replay, only the second in the long history of the Upton Trophy.
A traditional entrance for the Jersey Scottish side, club secretary Jimmy McGovern piped out the Jersey League champions to the sound of Scotland the Brave. The team news was that star striker Adam Gregg would be playing, but midfielder Craig Morton wouldn't. A much less flamboyant entrance for the Northerners. Their side was at full strength, but they hadn't had a competitive game since they won the Prio Championship nearly 6 weeks ago. Scottish took the early initiative. North were slow to the ball, and their only real contribution in the opening 15 minutes was a horrible tackle by Paul Delamere on Paul Carberry, which earned an early booking. The Scots were quick to the ball and got players forward to support the front two of Carberry and Ross. They fully deserved their lead in the 12th minute. North failed to clear the ball in front of the area. Gregg flicked a pass to Dougie Ross, whose looping shot beat Steve Ingwell. The Scots went on the rampage. 10 minutes later it should have been 2-0, but Steve Ingwell denied the visitors. In the latter part of the second half, North shook off their end-of-season blues and began to play. Somewhat surprisingly, they scored in the 35th minute. Carberry tried to clear the ball along the touchline, but was robbed by Mark Bisson. His pass found Kevin Letitia, who rounded Peter Carr and scored. 1-1, and it was anyone's match. Both teams opened up in the second half, and the chances came thick and fast. North could have won it in the dying seconds of normal time. Scottish defender Martin Forbes, who was having a great game, cleared off the line. Into extra time, and North seemed to be the team with the impetus, but Scottish were far from finished. Somehow Ingwell kept the ball out from this corner, despite appeals from the Scottish players that it had gone over the line. In the second period of extra time, North had 5 good chances in as many minutes. The miss of the match came from Darren Letitia, who had the goal at his mercy from 6 yards out. In the dying moments of the game, both teams could have clinched it. Ilka Yukan cleared a Mark Bisson header off the line to save Scottish, while at the other end, Steve Ingwell brings off the save of the game to deny Dougie Ross. Final score 1-1. A great game and the chance to see it all over again next month.
First half hour of it, we looked like we were going to get buried, possibly a record Upton score for the Jersey Jocks. But as it proceeded, we got a little bit back into it. Kevin Letitia got the equaliser just before half-time. Second half, I thought we played quite well, and in extra time, I think we should have probably won it on chances. We had enough.
Well, there was 4 or 5 chances in the last 4 minutes.
If you don't score goals, you don't win games.
Now, you were retiring today, weren't you?
That's right, yeah. So, another game. Those immortal words were spoken in the dressing room. See you all Monday for training.
We done the old suicide trick, didn't we? I mean, we played probably the best stuff we played this season in the first half. And at half-time, we really should have went in one or two goals up. And then one of our players decides to dribble the ball from his own 18-yard line, gets caught in possession, and gave the ball to Letitia, who never misses. And you know, really, it was suicide, because at that stage I couldn't see North finding their way back into the game. You know, they looked as if they were lost for ideas, but we gave them an opportunity to score, and they scored, and that gave them the lift they needed. And then they went on, and in the end, they were probably the best team.
The replay, only the second in the Upton 70-year history, won't be played until May the 16th because of the Moratti next weekend.
Beating North 2-0 at Springfield. They're already champions of Jersey European Division 1 and they hold the Jeremy Cup. And the team felt they had something to prove. One of their players was picked to represent Jersey in the Moratti.
The first match in Guernsey was drawn 1-1, an exciting, evenly balanced contest. But this was Scottish's day. From the kick-off, they dominated the game, with Carberry, Ross and Gregg in particularly good form. Northerners' keeper Steve Ingwell also played brilliantly. This early chance for North was one of just 2 really good opportunities they had in the match. Danny Leprevo really should have done better with the goal empty in front of him. Kevin Letitia, who scored in the Moratti with his hand, didn't play. He failed a fitness test just before the match. Jersey Scottish took the lead a minute after that incident. Adam Gregg, who scored 25 goals this season, got clear down the left and slipped the ball into Dougie Ross's path. Ross accepted the gift gratefully. Gregg and Ross have scored 36 goals between them this season, and club president Barry Lane believes they're 2 of 5 Scottish players who should have played in the Moratti. Scottish certainly played like a team with something to prove. Every time they attacked, they looked like scoring. Ingwell saved his side time and again. North lost the Upton to Academics at Springfield last season, and despite moments of great skill like this when Grant Chalmers shrugged off 2 defenders, they never looked like cracking Scottish's solid back 4. This was probably Paul Carberry's last game for Scottish. He's tipped to sign for first star soon. Ross and Morton set him up, but again, his shot was also well saved. Scottish went 2 up just before half-time. Steve Ingwell failed to collect a corner, and Martin Forbes volleyed the ball in. Forbes was later voted man of the match. Scottish dominated the second half, but failed to convert a constant succession of chances. It could easily have been 4 or 5-0 by the end. But it was enough to win the Upton Cup and start yet another celebration for the Channel Islands' most successful club of 1992.
You must be very pleased with the way that game went.
Yeah, well, I said before, we're very happy people. I scored a goal, 6th of the season. It's unusual for me to be scoring goals. Especially scoring today was like a cap of the season for the boys as well, you know. 4th trophy, I think. Fed up with a big trophy cabinet for myself now, especially getting man of the match. Just very happy.
Did you feel that you had something to prove before the game started?
Yeah, quite a lot, yeah. I was very disappointed about they gave me another Marathi and that, so I'm just glad to score today and that. Enjoy the game.
It was a good goal too, tell us about it.
Well, I had him at the ball out wide. I was shouting for the ball early, but he took a man on and then just laid it back at the right time. Just hit it as hard as I could do it in.
Well, it must give you great pleasure to come back after you thought your season was over through injury.
Very much, yeah, great. You know, because I thought maybe a couple of months ago that my season was finished, and that would have been me, you know, but great just to come back and get an Upton medal, you know, delighted.
How about next season?
Staying here, win again.
Finally from me, the Pisces Boxer of second place Vale Rec in Guernsey's Prio League. There was some criticism around the ground that Kevin Le Tissier was playing, despite not being 100% fit. As it turned out, Le Tissier came on later in the game and set up 2 of the goals in an emphatic 4-1 victory.
Rangers in their red and black strip would just love to win the Prio Championship in this, their centenary season. Standing in their way, Saturday's opponents North, Prio champions for the last 3 seasons. Defensively, Rangers aren't the worst team in the league, but questions have been asked about their organisation at the back. No worries up front, though, with 15 goals in their last 2 games. In the first 20 minutes, North exploited those defensive weaknesses, Daniel Leprevo breaking through here and forcing a good save from Rangers' Peter Prio. Consistent pressure by North eventually paid off. They opened the scoring in the 25th minute. The ball ricocheted off Rangers defender Chris Le Tissier, and Paul Jordan, with a plaster cast on his left hand, slotted the ball home to give North the lead. Rangers had more of the game as the half progressed. Geraint Apsian hit a wicked curling shot from 25 yards out, which looked in all the way, but North keeper Steve Ingewell turned around the post. A few seconds later, Ingewell denied Craig Allen from the corner. Into the second half, and North immediately extended their lead. A perfect long ball from Paul Delamere over the top of the Rangers' defence found Jordan, who shrugged off 2 defenders to put North 2 up. It seemed like more bad news for Rangers just minutes later, when Carl Le Tissier was taken off with a hamstring injury. But it had the opposite effect, because Rangers scored from the restart. A defensive muddle by North. The ball broke to Apsian, whose low shot beat everybody. Rangers were back in the match, for a while at least. North continued to tantalise the Rangers' defence, and in the last 15 minutes they put the game beyond reach. Kevin Le Tissier, brought on in place of Rod Elmy, floated a beautiful ball over the Rangers' defence to Mark Bisson, whose fine strike restored North's 2-goal lead. And then in the dying minutes, North wrapped it up. Another lovely ball from Le Tissier to Jordan, who was in the clear. No mistakes from the former Ranger player. His hat-trick, and a well-deserved one too. Final score, 4-1 to North. Now 10 points clear of Rangers, who have 2 games in hand. A great display by the champions, who look well on course for their 4th successive Prio title.
In the other Barker's Prio League games, Sylvans and Bells drew 1-1. In Jersey, Portuguese beat St Peter by 4 goals to 2 to go joint top of Jersey European Division.
Football clubs play each other in a UK competition, but this season it's a definite possibility. Jersey St Paul's beat Bournemouth Sports 3-1 on the weekend to earn themselves a place in the quarter-finals of the Dorset Senior Cup. Meanwhile, Guernsey's Northerners were also earning themselves a quarter-final place with a 5-2 win over Swanage and Hurston at Northfield on Saturday evening. That match was a clash between old rivals. Swanage are in the black and white strip. Dorset Senior Cup visitors Swanage and Hurston were an impressive side 3 years ago when they beat the Northerners 2-0. But since then, things have gone downhill for the club. Coming into this game, they were without a win in the Deuce and Wessex League, the lack of sponsorship making it difficult for the Swans to attract top players to the club. North needed a win, not least to avoid a costly replay. After just 7 minutes, that looked unlikely when the Swanage defenders paid the penalty for some lax defending. Kevin Letitia set up Sidler Prevost, whose cracking drive from 25 yards out gave Swanage keeper Gilly Hollywood no chance. But Swanage stuck to their neat passing game using the flanks, and just 4 minutes later it paid dividends. The Swans' number 9, Ashley Pusey, who only has one arm, jinked around the North defenders, eventually forcing a rash tackle from Vinnie de Carteret inside the area. Penalty Swanage, no problem for Phil Turner, who was to have a magnificent game in the heart of the visitors' defence. 1-1 after just 10 minutes. Despite Swanage's current form, they're still a good side. Not that North needed any reminding, but any doubts were raised 10 minutes later when Swanage took the lead. A corner on the right, and Phil Turner sneaked up the middle to head the ball cleanly into the net and score his second goal. 9 minutes later, North got the equaliser. Swanage continued to press, but on occasion left themselves exposed at the back. A quick long ball forward, and Kevin Letitia showed why he's still the best striker in the island. Young players take note. Although the keeper looked to have the move covered, Kevin kept running, pressuring the keeper into an error. After that, it was just a stroll in the park. 4 goals in the first half. The touch paper had been well and truly lit. The stage was set for a second half full of goals, but strangely the game was to fizzle out, sending the match into extra time. North took the lead after 8 minutes of the first period. Mark Bisson challenged for the ball, a pass to Kevin Letitia, who took his time and slotted the ball past keeper Hollywood. He almost had his hat-trick a few minutes later when a bullet-like shot from 30 yards out was saved by the post. North put the game beyond any doubt in the second period of extra time when Mark Bisson punted the ball into the net after the Swanage keeper fumbled. North 4-2 up. Kevin Letitia deserved his hat-trick and got it 2 minutes from time when he connected from a corner kick. Final score, North 5, Swanage 2. A flattering scoreline for the home team who, to be fair, never looked 3 goals better than the visitors.
They played far better than I thought they were going to play, actually. They showed a lot of spirit, and it took us a while to actually get used to the way they were playing.
The second half sort of died away to nothing, didn't it, at one stage?
We were both scared to lose it, I think. You know, both teams were scared to actually lose a late goal. So I think we'd virtually settled for extra time about 10 minutes before the end.
Kevin Letitia, worth his weight in gold?
He's worth everything to this club. I think he's pulled us out of it many times. And today, I mean, he was exceptional. The work he did up front and even helping back sometimes was superb. I mean, give him his due, he keeps on producing for us.
It's always nice to score in these sort of games.
Did you feel you had a good match?
From time, I'm struggling a bit with fitness because I've been out for such a long time and, you know, obviously I need more games. But I was quite pleased with the goals.
Now, there's even some speculation, of course, that you might get into coaching in the not-too-distant future. Is that true?
Well, I'm actually assistant coach at the moment in the first team and whatever. But no, I'll keep playing until until legs make me stop.
How many more years were we talking about? Any idea?
Well, hopefully another 5 or 6. I'm only 31, you know.
A number of remaining second-round ties have yet to be played in the Dorset Senior Cup before the quarter-final draw, which will now include both the Northerners and Jersey St Paul's.
Some results out after a 1-1 draw. Tower led 1-0 at half-time. And in a quarter-final of the WJ...
will play Jersey's Northerners, while in the other tie, Vale Rec meet Jersey Scottish. In Jersey European Division 1, St One recovered to beat Portuguese 4-2, lifting them from the foot of the division. Well, the Channel Islands have always...